This edition of Mac Voices is brought to you by Opsgenie by Atlassian. With Opsgenie, your next incident doesn't stand a chance. Visit Opsgenie.com for your free account. Hi, I'm Chuck Joyner, and this is a Mac Voices briefing, especially for all my user group friends out there. 5 ways to improve your user group's website. Some of you may be familiar with my background with Apple user groups. Suffice it to say that I've been around Apple user groups for a long time. I was a user group leader for more years than I want to admit. I was chairman of Apple's User Group Advisory Board, and I still publish a website called the Mug Center, which is a resource site for Apple user groups that has sort of evolved into a place to showcase what's going on with user groups each month, what kind of topics they're covering, and where in the world some of my friends and people you're very familiar with are speaking. So as a result of doing that, each week I surf a whole lot of Apple user group websites to put together a briefing that I do each Sunday night that goes out to the Apple user group discussion list. And if you're interested in getting to be part of that list, I'll put a link in the show notes for you. But at the end of the day, I see a lot of user groups putting a certain amount of effort into their sites. In some cases, frankly, in some cases, it appears that there's no effort being put in. But I see ways that I think that user groups could improve their sites and therefore improve maybe their image and bring in better attendance, maybe better guests, get better donations from software and hardware vendors. So I'd like to offer these suggestions as someone who just sees an awful lot of user group websites on a consistent basis and sees things that I would like to see improved. Number 1, move your user group site into the 21st century. This would seem like a no-brainer because as a technology organization or technology-oriented organization, you would think that having a very modern-looking website would be the most natural thing in the world. On the other hand, to be fair about it, if the website was built by someone that's with your group or was with your group back in the 1990s or early 2000s and it has served your needs, why would you upgrade it? Why would you mess with it? Well, a lot of reasons. There are a lot of things that new modern websites really need to have and they need to be designed for, not the least of which is that you need a mobile version of your website to be seen on iPads, iPhones, and the like. There's so many easy ways now to create a new website for your group. And I think it may be time for many of you to just rip that old site out, build a new site that addresses some of these modern needs and focuses on the needs of today rather than the needs of yesterday. I can recommend Squarespace. I can recommend WordPress. I have not had personal experience with so many other of the site building options out there, but there are free options out there. There are very, very inexpensive options out there. Or if you want to spend a decent amount of money and have just an incredible amount of functionality, you may have to fund it a little bit. But by all means, take a good hard look at your website, and especially in relation to some of the things we'll talk about in a minute. Decide if it looks like the kind of site that belongs to a group that you might want to go and visit or join. And that may be the best test of all. Number 2, make your website the subject of a meeting, or 2, or 3. Every user group I've ever encountered is looking for one thing, and that is new, interesting meeting ideas. Most user groups are also looking for a way to get their members a little more involved and have a little more interaction between the leadership and the membership. And building a new website is the perfect way to do this. First of all, there may be folks in your group that don't know a thing about building a website. There probably are some that are very familiar with it, have built their own or created their own. So this is the perfect subject for a meeting or 2 or 3. You might start with an examination of your existing website. What works, what doesn't, what you like, what you don't like, and then the kind of features that you would like to have that maybe you don't right now, or the things that you could have if they were easier to implement and easier to maintain. So take a good hard look at this. The next step can be deciding what service you're going to use or what kind of website you're going to build and why, whether you use Squarespace, WordPress, one of the other, whether you self-host a WordPress installation. Whether you're going to build it on HTML or CSS, whether you're going to use something like Dreamweaver or any of the other website tools, RapidWeaver perhaps, or whether you're going to go with something a little more packaged that is already in existence and you can customize. So there's so many ways that this could become a terrific meeting topic, can help educate some of your folks in what it takes to create and maintain a website, as simple or sophisticated as you want it, and to give your group a new website in the process. Number 3, put your most important information front and center. This is one thing that, as someone that surfs websites looking for this, it really does kind of fascinate me and bug me a little bit. And that is that too many user groups will not put the most important information, which I think is what is your next meeting and what are you going to be talking about. I can think of at least 5 or 6 groups that require at least 2 or 3 clicks off the main page to get to whatever and wherever that information is housed, which if you stop and think about it, does not make a lot of sense, because if you're having to maintain that information 3 levels down, why aren't you maintaining it on the front page? And I am talking about, too, the front page above the fold. It's great to have all the sexy graphics and all the other ancillary information about your user group. But at the end of the day, what you really, in my opinion, what you should have above the fold, front and center, is who you are, where you meet, when your next meeting is, what your topic is, and how to contact you. And then if you want to get into a detailed history of the group or the resources you offer or ways to go about membership, yes, absolutely, put it farther down on the page or include it in the menu bar. But some of the things that I see with user groups as they are now, they have a logo, they have some really interesting graphics, and that's it. And you can't really find out anything about them. One other small thing that is really intriguing, make sure that you put the address of where you meet, and especially an address that can be found by Apple Maps or Google or Waze or wherever, so that these devices can direct folks right to your meeting. So many groups I see out there will say something like, we meet in the Smith Center, in the recreation room in downtown. And they don't tell you the city, they don't tell you the state. Hopefully you're getting a little bit of a hint maybe by the name of the group, but not always, and especially if you are halfway across the country or maybe even halfway around the world. You have no idea where downtown is or where the Smith Building is, and if there's no address, these people are not going to be able to show up for your meeting. So take a good hard look at it. Ask those basic questions: what, when, where, how, why, and make sure they're answered and answered above the fold. They're easy to locate and can be found by anyone visiting your site. This edition of Mac Voices is supported by Opsgenie by Atlassian. When everything is working, well, everything is working. But when things go wrong, that's when you need to act fast and do the right thing. Time is money, especially when it comes to your service, and that's why Atlassian makes Opsgenie. With Opsgenie, you and your dev and ops teams get the fastest possible notification of problems so that steps can be taken to get things back up and running. But Opsgenie does a lot more than that. You set up who gets notified about what problems and when they get notified. A smart combination of scheduling and escalation paths makes sure that, even if there are time zones or holidays involved, the right members of your team are alerted to problems. You know how frustrated you are when a service you depend on goes down. Even a few minutes of downtime seem interminable at today's speed of business. With Opsgenie on the job, your downtime stands a better chance of being minimal, making your customers happy. And when your customers are happy, you are happy. Incidents occur. Take the sting out of them with Opsgenie. Right now, when you visit Opsgenie.com, you can sign up for a free account and then add up to 5 team members, all for free. And I don't mean a trial account, I mean an Opsgenie account. See how Opsgenie integrates with apps like Jira, Amazon CloudWatch, and more, and what it can do for you. That's Opsgenie.com for a free account and up to 5 team members, all for free. With Opsgenie, your next incident doesn't stand a chance. Thanks to Opsgenie for their support of Mac Voices. Number 4, keep your site updated. This one would seem to go hand in hand with number 3 and would seem to be a no-brainer. But to the contrary, I see so many groups out there that don't post any information about their next meeting until 2, 3, maybe 4 days ahead of that meeting. And that gives no one the chance to make sure they have it on their schedules, that they don't have conflicting events, or that maybe they can rearrange something if the topic is really interesting. You are in competition with every television event, with every sports event, with all the kids' activities, with business obligations, with so many things, and people want to come to your meeting if they know what you're going to be delivering. So please think about maybe setting a reminder on your calendar or your phone or wherever you keep your calendars that the day after your last meeting or 2 days after your last meeting, at the very least, you get a notice up saying, here's when our next meeting will be, and ideally the topic. And if you don't know the topic, look, I understand that. Having been a user group leader, sometimes those decisions don't get made until the last minute. But most of the time, you have some kind of idea of maybe what you're going to be presenting. So if you have to set a second reminder or a third reminder, but just make sure that that site gets updated as soon as it can be with the information about your next meeting. I think that's going to bring your existing members in and make sure they attend, and you have a much better chance of bringing somebody else in. As we head into a new year, a lot of people have gotten new Apple technology for the holidays, and they're looking for your group maybe to become a place where they can go and get information on that. And if they don't know when you meet, where you meet, and especially if they don't know what you're going to be talking about, they may just pass right over you. So please, think seriously about a way to keep your site updated. Number 5, get your own domain. This one would seem to be pretty obvious, and there are plenty of groups that do have their own domains, and I applaud you for it. But I'm also seeing a trend in groups giving up their domains in favor of having a presence on something like Facebook or Meetup.com. And those are fine options. But unless I know to go to Facebook and look for your group, I'm not going to find you. Unless I know to go to Meetup.com and look for your group, I'm not going to find you. If you have your own domain, you can point that domain to pretty much anything, anywhere you want, and you will not lose the traffic and the name recognition maybe that you already have. And redirecting a domain is pretty easy. In fact, hey, it might make even a good meeting topic or meeting demonstration for you. So make sure that if you intend to keep your group going for a while, make sure that you have the identity established for your group that everyone knows and everybody can find easily. Those are 5 tips that I hope will improve your user group's website, add a little more value for your members, maybe attract some new members, and in general, improve your credibility in the user group community. As I said before, I have a soft spot for Apple user groups, and I love to interact with leaders and members. And so if you disagree with any of these, or if you have tips of your own, please share them with me, chuck@macvoices.com. I hope to share some additional tips in future briefings, but for now, that'll give you something to get started with. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our MacVoices Facebook group and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us at patreon.com/MacVoices and join these folks who help keep MacVoices coming to you. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.